That's right there. It says drugstore, but just pretending I'm looking at my text message or something. So let's see if I could just get some banana. Thing. What is that? What is that? Seriously, what is that? Is that is a moon, I think, but it's kind of spooky because it's behind that the cloud or whatever. The cloud is the same color as the sky, so that is make it really spooky. Everything is just blue for some freaking reason. I don't know what's going on. Life is weird here, and there are so many things as the subject. I could just came up with lots of subjects talking about it. I had planned to make like random going around and shopping for drugs, not just medicine. I mean drugs, illegal medicines, consider it as a drug, and you could actually shop for that. And the country, this country is has this that is really weird, because that's I think that's the, what is it, the electric Toyota. Yes, that is the moon. It's freaking spooky, man. Look at that. I'm not sure the camera could just pick it up. Anyway, so in this country you can drink alcohol, which is weird because the Iranian discovered accidentally. I mean, the Iranian scholar, the Muslim scholar, discovered the alcohol, the actual alcohol, the methanol alcohol, the ethanol alcohol. And the alcohol, the word alcohol is derived from the al-kahol or kahol. The kah or kahol, that is over 20 to 50 thing. And what the hell is that? They're selling a skin. Anyway, so that was because it doesn't have a license plate. That was the reason. Some of these guys are either working for the government or some secret agencies and whatever. So anyway, moving on. So you can drink alcohol, and this guy was a Muslim scholar. I mean, after the Muhammad died, deceased anyway. So there is this famous verse in Quran. It says, "For whom who thinks, whatever, for the people who think." And it says over and over and over in whole Quran. And if you actually read the on Quran, I'm sure people are always saying Muslim are this or that, whatever, and even Muslims don't read Quran. They're just following their own ideas. Like one of the famous verse in Quran, it says there is no obligation in faith. So you could, if you're like Christian or Jewish or whatever, just keep your religion as long as you don't harm anyone. Just who cares? Who gives a shit? And there is another verse. It says you could keep your faith. Your faith is the Muhammad, as Muhammad says, your faith is your faith, and mine is mine. So let's see what's going to happen to the afterlife. So this beheading and mass killing people in name of the Islam or whatever doesn't make any sense with the actual verses of from Quran. And the Muhammad says always to look for whatever the reason for this life, and look at the mountains. The Quran says we create the mountains, we create the seas and oceans and whatever. Just look how we create and kill creatures. So in the afterlife you're gonna get reborn and rejuvenated and whatever. What the hell is that? In the afterlife. So it says to follow the religions and the Muhammad or whatever. And one of those, so after the Muhammad died, and the scholar looked at each others, because Allah, the Quran says clearly the Muhammad is the last prophet, and we have sent 124,000 prophets before the Muhammad, and the Muhammad is the last one. Keep it cool, chillax. There is no other prophet. Don't bring anything other on the table or whatever. So people are gone crazy and confused, because who's the leader? Any society needs some leader. I mean, if either is a president, even democratics, dictatorship or whatever, you have types of different society, but they have something in common, and that is the leadership. So you need the leader. So they came up with this idea of the Khalifa or Khalifa. So, and they put the capital in Baghdad or Baghdad. So the Muslims, whoever was cool, or whoever wants to be, the better Muslim, better faithful person. Anyway, so they travel from anywhere on the world to close to the Baghdad. And one of them was this guy. His name was the Razi, Muhammad ibn Zakaria al-Razi. He was the Muslim scholar, and when I say the Muslim scholar, I mean the Sunni scholar. Because people in Iran, they are mostly Shia, but back in the day they were mostly Sunnis. And this guy just wants to know what the hell is going on. Like this is the type of metal. So, and those are plants or whatever. This is the air. You can't see it, but there is a wind. You can feel it. So he wants to know what the hell the multiple things and have been created or has in this world. What are they? He just wants to know this discovery of. He wants to discover the meaning of anything, how they are made of, like the physicists doing, like in God's. Particles and subatomic particles and whatever. So one of the things, so what could you discover? How could you discover these things? This is stray dogs, which is really weird, and they're keeping it in rural to keep it kind of safe or whatever. There's no other reason for that. And so what the fuck am I doing? So he wants to discover the world and the reason and whatever, the material of how these things are made of. So one of the things you could actually do is just touching it, smell it, like with all of your senses. You could actually smell it, eat it, taste it, whatever. But it doesn't give you anything, doesn't make anything. You can't just categorize anything, the materials. So one of those ideas was just boil the material, whatever it is, everything. Just boil everything and distill it. You guys, make sure you could actually see this. It's really hot dog. I got my crap. That's my insurance thingy. I don't know, it's a paper or whatever. I've got some antibiotic and so he actually did. I mean, he just give some material, boil it, and when it's evaporated, he distillate those things into the water. So now he could just drink it. and even look at it, or whatever things people actually do in these types of situation. I don't know. So he wants to know what the hell is going on, and now he has the waters. Please. So he had waterish things about them, so he could just look at them. But the craziest things, one of the craziest things about when you distillate things, if you just add some like what I'm looking for, if you actually add some sugar or whatever, you can actually make a beer out of that material. Not that easy, but I'm not going to details. You know how to make your own homemade wine or whatever, or beer. So he just accidentally made some beer or alcohol or whatever out of the kahl, because Muhammad, one of those things people don't know, the Muhammad wife was a businesswoman, and he was a successful businesswoman, not just a businesswoman. And but Muslim today don't follow this idea, so that's one of the reason I'm telling you no one is Muslim, the actual Muslim. The people have no tolerance on these ideas, but Muhammad was really open-minded, and it's not my word to any other word. It's just you could actually look that up on Google or whatever. You could actually look up in any language you want to. So Muslims are not following that ideas. The Muhammad had really long hair, and he had really what is it, the makeup. He put the makeup, and he says to his scholars and followers to just follow my lead and put some makeup on. And Muslims are not doing that, but one of those things which Muhammad did was the kahl. It's something you put around your eyes to make it feisty or something. When you go to the war, or just confronting with the people, would make you look tough, something like that. So the Razi used that kahl, whatever, and made that drink or whatever, and accidentally discovered the menthol. What is it? What was it? Ethanol and methanol. And he accidentally discovered the actual alcohol. The alcohol we use on daily basis to just clean ourselves and hygiene or whatever. And not only that, the alcohol is something you could use or whatever, but one of the weirdest things about the Iran, right now, if I go to the drugstores, any drugstores anywhere, I cannot possibly shop for... That was open. These guys are running. This is a tiny river. I'm not sure you could see it because there's no light here, but there's a tiny river here, and those buildings are illegal, and there's a tiny, small, narrow bridges between here and those buildings. And now I was watching and saw it was open. They control everything. These people who are living here, and not sure you could actually see that, but this is a sign. It says keep it cool and clean the nature. Not actually that. It says the different things. But anyway, it's not on my topic. I don't want to go into that, so let's keep it that way. Some people are just downstairs. They have the flashlights and torches. They're chilling and shit. You cannot possibly see that anything with my camera. Anyway, just moving on. I can barely show you guys the road, so what's the point? So you can go to drug store and shop for the alcohol, I mean the ethanol alcohol, anything. And if you actually, I mean accidentally, or if you ever find anything, they add some chemical, really dangerous chemical, in case you're gonna use it as a drink. So they had that idea, if anyone have audacity to use this drink as alcohol beverages, he or she better have to die, or just going to the hospital or whatever. And Iranian mouthwashes, they don't have alcohol, and anything which naturally came up with the alcohol, I mean a tiny amount of alcohol, not like 20% or 10%, something like that. Anything like 1% of alcohol is they're changed with, they use this different material, chemical things, so you won't actually experience that alcohol. So you can't bypass this law. The law prevents the people to not drinking alcohol. But the Muslim, I mean, if you're going to Yemen, for instance, you're gonna see people are chewing something. That something is called khat. The khat is something like, you know, what is it? Kind of a cannabis, something, some drug, some mild drug or whatever. People actually chewing on their daily lives. It's really disgusting things to do, but they're doing it. And it gives you kind of a high, not the high like weed or whatever, just give you tiny a little bit ease at your mind. So the Muslim in Yemen using those things, and lots of other things. And like 1,000 years ago, there was this guy who was kind of a leader or a caliph, not the actual caliph, but he was the leader of the underground society. He had this plan to just assassinate people in politically types of view. He was the first terrorist, I mean the political terrorist or whatever. So his name was, I forgot what it was his name, and but he had a really interesting idea. He would give people who worked for them in these types of drugs. That drugs was the hashish, the Islamic drugs. It's just really crazy because you can drink, and Islam says you have to keep your mind, you have to remember the God all the time, 24/7. So anything which distracts you out of that idea, out of that mind, is restricted, like the sex or drugs or drink or whatever. But because it's not doesn't smell, drugs are not that much of doesn't show off, so people actually didn't mind that. They're just like, what the hell, let's just drink and whatever, let's do whatever we could possibly do. Who gives a shit? And that was one of those things end up to discovering or making or inventing the hashish. And these guys are called themselves or by other people the hashashin, and it came it drags to the English language and other language, and it became like assassins. So that was the idea of the drugs, and that was the idea behind getting methanols and ethanols in today's Iran. But now you can actually shop for some mild, not that much powerful, mild drugs like coatings and types of different substance close to the codeines, and you could actually get high. And I'm not just saying, I mean, you could actually get high really close to the something like weeds or morphines or whatever, things like that. You could actually get really cool high out of it. And the crazy thing is it says you have to prescribe those drugs to people in many countries around the world, and some of them are actually banning because it's kind of a powerful drugs. But here in Iran, I could actually go to the drugstores and shop just right away without any prescription or whatever. I could actually get my own high crazy thing, whatever, drugs, medicines. I'm looking if I could possibly find some drug stores here because it's a rural town. I'm not sure how many are there. It's really hard to find two things: drug stores and another thing. What is it? Find the drug stores and a gas station. There's only one gas station in this whole town, and as you can see, there are like thousands of just cars. They're just passing by, not even resident cars, not even people actually living here, but for this many cars, there's only one gas station. So it tells you a lot. How could you possibly find gasoline here? And that was the reason I was riding without the power engine. So anyway, life is fun and cool. I may do going around and find some drugstore next some other times. But remember that this guy, the Muhammad ibn Zakaria al-Razi, he discovered the alcohol and the alcohol drugs from the Muhammad's makeup, the facial makeup, and that is crazy things. And the more than that craziness is you can actually shop for that here in today's like 2018 Iran, which is crazy. The hard shoulder, and really love it when people actually going to the hard shoulder. I can't fucking can't fucking breathe here. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Next vlog is about bananas. I don't know, I don't care, to be honest. But I wish there was a drugstore I could just go and shop and just show that right away what's going on here. But it doesn't going to happen, so let's just keep it that way. Let's just keep it cool and whatever. And this traffic is just distracting and whatever. It's making it really hard to make a vlog or whatever. So thanks for watching. Peace out. Just want to show you guys, make sure you could actually see this. It's really hot dog. I got my crap. That's my insurance thingy. I don't know, it's a paper or whatever. I've got some antibiotic and adult cold and some syrup, and so Iranian doctors usually don't prescribe the headache medicine for your headache when I have it. So I've got this for
without prescription. It is acetaminophen codeine, 2300 milligram, and it's like 20 cents. It's really cheap. You could just get it at every drugstore or whatever. It's fine. You could get your shit together. And today was actually the, I don't know, I'm not sure. Today was the, and this is it, just covering the cost is like $4.